Buenos dias, maayong adlaw at magandang araw po sa ating lahat, and welcome back to the part 2 of the Designing Training Curriculum for the New Normal in TVET webinar. In behalf of the Mindanao TVET, I am Frances, your host for today, and before we officially start, we would like to remind you of our webinar guidelines. Webinar guidelines and other useful information. Muting and unmuting. All participants will be placed on mute by the host upon entry. A participant can unmute him or herself during open forum if he or she desires to speak. Introduction of and greetings from participants. Participants are requested to introduce themselves in the chat box by entering their full name, institution, region, and email address. All entries will be collated by our admin staff to serve as our attendance sheet. These shall be used as basis for issuance of digital certificates. MinTVET shall be guided by the data privacy law and shall not use any personal data and information of the participant for any other purpose. During the open forum, a participant who wishes to ask a question is requested to use or click the raise hand button. Please wait for the moderator to recognize and call you to speak. Click on mute button to unmute yourself when so recognized and called to speak. Participants are encouraged to post questions in the chat box. Our moderators will collate these questions and flash them during the open forum. During the sessions, participants will be placed again on mute to avoid unnecessary sounds and noise that cannot be filtered. Regarding your webinar materials, copies of webinar presentation materials will be provided to registered participants only upon request. And you may request or send your request via email through bmixph@gmail.com or MindanaoTVETAssociation@gmail.com to request a copy. Please refer to your screens for the correct email addresses. The webinar will be recorded by the host. Requests by participants to record shall not be allowed. Lastly, on your certificates, MinTVET will provide digital certificates for registered participants only upon request. Again, please use the same email addresses flashed on your screen earlier. Digital certificates are provided for free and will be sent directly to the email address of the participant, again upon request. For those who wish to have a hard copy of the certificate, there will be a charge of 250 pesos to cover costs for materials and logistics. Please refer to your screen for a copy of the digital layout of the certificate. We also would like to request our participants to observe the following etiquette for webinars and video conferencing. Wear proper attire or appropriate clothing. Mute your microphones at all times until you are recognized to speak. Background noise can be an annoying distraction or stifle any meeting's flow. Turn off video only when you have other things to do, such as eating, drinking, sleeping, dozing off, talking on the phone, or with others, or when not fixed on screen to avoid being seen by others. Again, turn on video when you are back on screen. Ensure that your technology works correctly prior to the webinar or video conference. Frame your cameras correctly. When you speak clearly and look into the camera. When on screen, pay attention and avoid talking with others. We also would like to remind everyone to introduce themselves when they are about to speak. Here is our program flow for today. And now, to lead our opening prayer, we would like to acknowledge Reverend Father Nathaniel Denlauso, a board member of the MinTVET, and the president of St. Vincent's College. Let us put ourselves in the presence of the Almighty. Father.
Okay na?
Yes, Father.
Once again, together with the Philippine nation, we pray the Oratio Imperata, prayer against COVID-19. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen. God our Father, we come to you in our need to ask your protection against the COVID-19 that has claimed lives and affected many. We pray for your grace for the people tasked with studying the nature and cause of this virus and its disease, and of stemming the tide of its transmission. Guide the hands and minds of medical experts that they may minister to the sick with competence and compassion, and of those governments and private agencies that must find cure and solution to this pandemic. We pray for those afflicted. May they be restored to health soon. Grant us the grace to work for the good of all and to help those in need. In a very special way, we come to you, Lord Jesus, the Good Shepherd of all. As TVET leaders and movers, we humbly pray to you with hearts worried and wearied, asking for consolation and peace, with minds groping for better solutions. Give us enlightenment and guidance. Even amidst darkness and uncertainties, in facing this formidable battle, grant us the grace to be resilient so that we may be able to continue our mission as our way of participating in your mission. We can only proceed with hope. We can only succeed with faith. And still, we can only live with love. And we can only triumph with you. Grant this to our Lord Jesus Christ, your Son, who lives and reigns with you in the unity of the Holy Spirit, one God, forever and ever. Amen. Mother Mary, help of all Christians, pray for us. Saint Joseph, pray for us. Saint Raphael the Archangel, pray for us. Saint Roch, pray for us. Saint Lorenzo Ruiz de Manila, pray for us. San Pedro Calungsod, pray for us. Amen.
Daghang salamat, Father Tani. And now we shall proceed to the acknowledgement of participants according to the distribution by jobs and positions in TVET. So we have 31% TVET administrator and department heads. We have 52% TVET trainers, teachers, and faculty members. We also have 9% owner and board members. We have, while 8% rather, of non-academic participants. We have a total of 330 registered participants, and to officially open our webinar and welcome these participants, may we have Dr. Bonifacio Valdez, Vice President Internal of the Mindanao TVET, the President of VMC Tacurong City. Dr. Valdez.
To my fellow officers, Board of Trustees, and members of MinTVET, headed by President Lourdes Mission, directors of TESDA who are with us, TVI presidents and administrators, and different stakeholders. And of course, special mention to the backbone of MinTVET, Attorney Mick Ingracia. A pleasant afternoon to all of us. Yesterday's learning session 1 was the introduction and overview of flexible and blended learning. It was well researched and explained by Attorney Mick Ingracia, the simplest way for all of us to understand and emphasize that this educational disruption can stop us from learning, thus this webinar. Learning session 2 was on designing training curriculum on NTR client-specific courses by Senior Master Trainer, Ms. Maria Rehena Amores, with emphasis on identifying the key employment generators on our locality, in that NTR registration should have a job ready and endorsed by the industry association for it to be approved by TESDA. Today is the learning session 3 on designing the TVET blended curriculum for the new world by MinTVET webinar. Initially, the MinTVET board agreed on one of our meetings that each participant should pay 500 pesos to this webinar. But through the generosity and probably a birthday present to all of us by Attorney Mick, this is given free. Since this is free, there should be no reason to all of us not to revise our curriculum and implement flexible learning in TVET through blended learning in line with the policy directions in Oplan TESDA Abot Lahat, TVET towards the new normal. TVI should continue to operate and have the growth mindset to survive and focusing in 4 priority sectors, that is agriculture, health, IT, and construction, to be at par with TESDA training institutions. So for now, welcome to the learning session 3 part 2 of MinTVET's free seminar in this challenging time of global pandemic. And thank you for being with us.
Muchísimas gracias, Dr. Valdez. We also would like to acknowledge the presence and participation of our Board of Directors of the TVSA, NCR, and our TESDA regional directors. We also would like to remind our participants that during sessions, you will be placed on mute. So now, let us proceed into the introduction of our session speaker and trainer. She is the Executive Director of the Tech Box Schools Association of the Philippines, TVSA, the President of Asian Entrepreneurs Technological Institution, a Certified Senior Master Trainer, and a Star Validator APAC Accreditor. Engineer Marjorie G. Mendanilla. And to start her session, she will be talking about designing blended training curriculum for the new normal. Engineer Mendanilla. Magandang hapon po, Miss Marjorie.
Okay, thank you. Magandang hapon po sa lahat. Naririnig niyo po ba ako? Is the volume of my voice okay with all of you?
Yes po, ma'am.
Yes, thank you. So this afternoon, hello for all my friends over there. Mga friendship ko po kayo. And this afternoon, I really do not have so much to share, but it is more of making sure that you are able to prepare your curriculum, which you have to submit to TESDA. So this is more of a working session for all of you. And I think you are really very lucky that at this point in time, we are now receiving guidelines from TESDA to allow us to really work and be able to register. Okay. So you will see that yesterday, I suppose Attorney Mick should have shared this already to all of you. There was the TESDA Memorandum number 406, series of 2020, dated May 17, 2020, which already defined the TVET arrangement under the normal. And the salient points are for all school owners. I think you should read this and make sure that you understand. So what does it say? For your enrollment, if it is ECQ, I suppose in Mindanao, there is no place there that is on ECQ. Mostly maybe will be on MECQ, GCQ, MGCQ. So therefore, now they are open that if before COVID, every day, now the new normal is that enrollment will be online. So you can now accept enrollment online. Of course, we have to wait for your approval to be able to deliver your course. Now, the start of classes for those under ECQ and MECQ is strictly no face-to-face, I think. And GCQ every day, when required, class also of 10, if class size of 10 is reached. Now, what is important to us is the TIP is for scholarships. For your paying participants, I think, I don't know, we don't need to do the TIP. But if we are all using the TWSP, then make sure that you have a TIP. This one, we're still discussing if we can request for a video from TESDA so that this TIP will be the same for all, which you can broadcast in your institution. Now, this one is very important. On training delivery, if your community is under ECQ, MECQ, the course is strictly online. So if your community, according to your local government, is this GCQ or MGCQ, then it says you can do face-to-face, online, blended, distance learning. So, but during this quarantine time, you have to advocate the use of asynchronous e-learning and tools, or maybe you can follow TESDA online program or other open source online training courses. Subsequently, training delivery should shift from face-to-face to distance learning. And Attorney Mick discussed yesterday about flexible learning. So here, as the owner, your first activity should be to identify what is your delivery system. So I call this planning for continuity. As when you are planning for your annual programs, either operational plan or a strategic plan, you always do scanning. So I say, for you to identify what mode of delivery you're going to use, then you have to do a little of internal scanning. Example, if you're offering agriculture, maybe not a good example. If you are offering, say, bartending, for example, then you have to check what is the ICT skill of my trainer. How many trainer do you have? So you have to profile your trainers. So you know what are their ICT skills. This is either to define the capacity building program that you have to give to your trainers. The other one is, do you have the financial capacity to provide additional hard ICT infrastructure requirement if needed? Then a question is, do you already have a learning management system? Or similarly, do you have the fund to procure a learning management system? or to get a free learning management system? Do you have the technology? And then in your location, is there an internet connectivity of your institution? So if you are in the high mountains, I don't know if you have an internet connectivity. And then do you have your learning resources? Then you would say, yes, we already have a CBLM, which we are using during face-to-face. All right, then that is your learning resource. Do you have video materials? You say, yes, I have already procured some video materials, or I can download it from YouTube. And then do you have contents, coursewares, which can be easily uploaded to the LMS, like e-books? So there, you can identify your capacity to either go online or the other methodologies or mode of flexible learning. The other one would be an external scanning. Now, when we did this, we used as basis our current students or our students of last year. So aside from the common profile that we usually gather, like age, culture, language abilities, we now include gadget for use of the trainees. So have we observed them to be using a mobile phone? Is that a smartphone? And then do my trainees have the capacity to buy data or load for connectivity? Do they have access to internet? And then you look at the community. The community, even if the student has financial capability, if the community itself, it's far-flung area and there is no internet access, so it is impossible for the trainee to have an internal access. Okay, so what we do usually is you do percentages. You do not say that in this area, so you review like trainer. I have here, we do this like I have 2 trainers. He is age 62, so may be difficult to learn ICT skills. So if the subject there is bartending, and I couldn't find a better teacher than this, then I need to hire another teacher. If you can do that, then well and good, you can go online. Do I have the financial capacity? You say, if you have your budget, you have done budgeting of 2020, then you can put it there. Can I purchase a learning management system? Okay. Do I have internet connectivity? How big? If in my community, they can only offer 2G, it's impossible for me to be connected. So I think this also depends on the community where you are. And then what are your current learning resources? You have to list it down. And then, do you have your courseware which you can upload to LMS? Or do you have the capacity to digitize the current learning resources that you have? If you can answer all of this, then you go to your decision making. All right, same with the learner. You have to analyze your learner. Do percentages rather than just say, many of my students cannot access internet. You have to say 10% of my students, only 10% can access internet. Or you would say 50% can do internet, the other 50% cannot do internet. That's the only way you can make a decision. Now let us try to make your decisions. And decision making is like this. These are your possible options. Okay, the first option here is you go on full online. Full online means if you are on ECQ, there is no other way but go full online because you are not allowed to do blended learning when you are on ECQ. Now, assuming you are not on ECQ, but your courses can be delivered for full online, and according to your analysis, internal and external analysis, all your teachers have the capacity for technology, you have enough resources to get your learning management system or establish your learning management system, and go online, then by all means, please go full online. Then if you say, no, but the courses I have cannot be just full online because skills can really be just learned by really doing it. So they have to come to my school and practice the skills. So you say, okay, I will now decide. So here is your second decision. I will now decide to go online, synchronous, face-to-face. That means there will be physical interaction, scheduled, and practicing distancing, and all the, what do you call this? The possibilities that you do to disinfect. Like, you know, in the mall right now, when you go inside, you step on a disinfecting mat. Oh, so maybe all schools will practice that. Therefore, you say, I will decide to go online and face-to-face. That's my blended delivery. Now, the other way is, here is the next one. I cannot go internet. My students do not have internet connectivity, and therefore I cannot go online. And so you will say, I will go offline and face-to-face. What do we mean by offline? This is asynchronous access of digital materials using various gadgets. That means you convert all your CBLMs into a soft copy or an e-copy, which you can load into their cell phones. So they can just access the material through the cell phone, right? And then you can do a face-to-face, especially if you are now on a GCQ. That means you can have more of the face-to-face. And the program content are all available. Well, if you do not have an LMS, are all available as ebooks. Or you can upload all of this content in YouTube, which can be accessed by the students at home. They don't have to be connected to your institution. They just have to be connected to the internet, even if the line connection is very slow. So we would call this offline learning and face-to-face, right? So you have the gadget, you have the e-material, and then you can do face-to-face. And number 4 is that this is now, sometimes this one is very nice. If in your analysis of the profile of your students, 50% can do online, but 50% cannot do online, depending on where they are from. As you are, your customers are within your near area, but the other area you cannot access the internet. So you can do this online, offline learning, and face-to-face. That means it is a mix of synchronous and asynchronous methods of e-learning. It is face-to-face, and the contents are all available in the LMS or on ebooks, so that the students who cannot go online can do the offline learning. Those who can go online, well, they can also opt to go offline. So you can do these both. And the last, this is the possibility where, okay, right there. This is called non-wired instruction and face-to-face. Never mind the mobile training. This is face-to-face. If you're allowed to go to their location, then that's good. But if not, then they can just go to the school. But it is called non-wired, right? This means that face-to-face physical interaction are scheduled, program contents are printed, material distribution via pickup or via courier. You choose this when there is really no possibility for an online or a connectivity between the materials and the student. Okay. I think the distribution of materials can be either pick up or you use the courier. Of course, there are additional costs here. Now, sometimes the problem with printed materials is that at this point in time, not so many students are fond of reading printed materials. So that means you have to make your printed material as easy reading as possible. So we call this non-wired and face-to-face. Now, since our private TVIs, there was a we cannot anymore register a mobile training, so we'll just say non-wired instruction and face-to-face. I hope is this clear to everyone? Yeah. All right. Now, if you know which of these learning options you are going to follow as a school, as a TVI, this means that you are going to design your curriculum according to your identified learning options. Because I always hear and say, what happens? One of my students cannot access the internet. What happens if it is like this? So, the administrator of your institution should be able to really choose which of these learning options you're going to do. And I heard from Dr. Gayona yesterday that as long as you can prove to TESDA what you intend to do, and that this is really a quality learning, and it's flexible, offline, online, then they would agree to this. So, this is your choice of options, right? Now, if you have already chosen your option, now you're going to sit down and write your competency-based curriculum, as this is now a requirement for the latest test, the memorandum that we just received. I suppose Attorney Meek should have been distributed the latest guideline for flexible learning system. I will try to show that to you a little while. I look for that file. And you will see there what test that requires you to send to them or to show them. There is already a list of what you have to show them so that you will have the permit or your program will be registered either full online, blended, or any of these learning options. You have to give them a hard data and say, the reason why I am doing, especially if you go to number 5, non-wired instruction and face-to-face, then you really have to give a proof that your situation is such that the students cannot go online. Okay. My favorite here is online, offline, and face-to-face. Because if some of my students could not really go online, I can do full offline and face-to-face. Although, of course, the teachers will have more work to do. Okay. Now, assuming you decided, dito na lang ako sa online learning and face-to-face. Kasi yung teacher ko, pwede ko naman yan turuan to be more IT enabled. Okay? And, especially if you choose Google Classroom. Last time we had a teacher from Google Classroom and say, the system is free. So maybe you can avail of that so that you have a learning management system. So the teachers and the administrator will have to sit down and write now their curriculum, right? Now, doing that is really not so difficult. Here, I would like to review I think you are all familiar to this format. And this is how TESDA defines a competency-based curriculum. And the components are, first, you have a course design there. And then it follows the trainee entry requirement, all of this. And then you have the course structure together with the nominal hours. Of course, I didn't copy the entire CBC there. So you have the course structure. Then you have the assessment method. Oh, I missed one here. There is the training. There is. Assessment method is listed down there. And then there's the course delivery. You have your list of equipment, everybody, training facilities, and the trainer qualification. And follow to that is letter B, modules of instruction, which is written as this. Okay, there's a column, assessment criteria, content, condition, methodology, and assessment method. All right, I would like you to focus on this because I am saying that you can use the same curriculum because you are using the same training regulation. There is no need to change the curriculum. You have already studied that for a given assessment criteria like this one, there is a corresponding content and there's a corresponding condition. Now, there's a corresponding methodology and assessment method. The only problem that we will now have is how do we show the different learning options? Okay, so I just added a little bit here. Oh, sorry. This is called the learning strategies or learning methods. I just copied this from this link. Okay. And it says the different learning methods that you can use are lecture, and this comes from a face-to-face, the traditional face-to-face. Self-directed learning or individualized learning or independent learning, they all mean the same thing. Mentorship, small group discussion, project, collaborative learning, forum, symposium, and simulation. All right? So remember this because this one, you can put it under the column of methodologies. Okay. Now, I just attended a program by Colombo Plant Staff College a while ago, and he said the different instructional methods are all of this: interactive lecture, demonstration, question, group work, problem solving, role play, case study. So all of this, we can put it under methodologies, right? Now, for assessment, I just hope now that because what we place here was designed before when we were thinking it is face-to-face. But according to the write-up that I just read, face-to-face method can also be the method for online. It's just delivered differently. Now, all right? So, when you do that, okay, and they say the word flexible learning options, I think you don't need that, but this one you need, especially if you are doing a non-wired. It means that you can do correspondence, you can do project-based, you can do radio broadcast, television broadcast, deliver on-demand learning kits. So ito yung learning materials that you can deliver to the student, circulation periodicals or they call it course supermarket that the student can just avail of the learning materials. Now, of course, you are all familiar with assessment method, so I did not place any assessment method here. Okay. Now, we will go to the workshop where you will now convert your current curriculum to the competency-based curriculum. Let me show you an example on how it is done. All right. Here is now, I call this competency-based curriculum blended delivery. And this is a curriculum that I will show to TESDA because I have selected option 2. Option 2 means it's online and face-to-face. So my delivery mode is only online and face-to-face, right? So you will see here, I copied the same thing, whatever was it at the beginning. From course design, it's the same. Course description is the same. There is no change. Trainee entry requirement is also the same. I didn't change anything. But of course, this is not yet accepted by TESDA. I haven't really applied to TESDA, but this is the one that I would like to use to apply it to TESDA. Okay. And then I copy the course structure, the same thing. The assessment method, I fill this up later after finishing the module of instruction. But I suppose the changes would be very small. And then course delivery will be filled up after I finish the module of instruction. For the list of tools, equipment, and materials, it is the same as in the original curriculum. For training facilities, I cannot change my facilities. Therefore, I still use the same that I submitted before for my face-to-face sessions. And the trainer qualification, I just added one. It's the same as before, just added one, has the ability to facilitate online learning. The changes will be here. Okay. These are the changes. For the module of instruction, I gave an example on the unit of competence. This is unit 1 of computer system servicing. So the content here is the same. It says here the nominal hours is 40. The learning outcomes are the same. This is where the change will come in. The column on the assessment criteria is the same. I cannot change this because this is in the training regulation. The content is the same. I cannot also change it. The conditions are the same, but I have to add, I added here for full online delivery requirements. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't use full, but for online delivery requirements, I should have a connection of at least 3 Mbps. Okay. I'm using a 50 Mbps line, so it says here at least learning management system, either, but here I just put here either because I'm showing it to you. But if you only have a Google Classroom, then you just put there Google Classroom. If you're using a Moodle-based LMS, then you use their Moodle-based. Okay. And of course, the other app, Google Meet, Zoom, FB Room, and the e-learning version of the course. What is the other change? Because TESDA would like to find out what is your mode of delivery. So instead of just one methodology that was in the former curriculum for face-to-face, you identify the different learning methods. Here, I just put here 6. You can have more depending on your learning methods. No? I think you can just ask Mr. Google what are the most effective learning methods for online learning. Now, independent study is always there, or we call this self-study, We have so many terminologies for this. In our previous CBLM, what we say there is read information sheet 1.1. Okay. So if that is the activity, it is called independent study. Or I can have a video, I can make an assignment, I can do a forum, I can do a webinar, I can do a social media. Now, I chose this because among all the topics, these are the ones that will be commonly used. Then I say my mode of delivery is online and face-to-face. Okay? And of course, I'll have to detail the time. So what do we do? First, for the first content, types and parts of computer, types and parts. Therefore, I tick independent study and assignment, right? And I say for the mode, it is online. There is no face-to-face. Who will decide on this? It's the technical expert who should be able to decide which of this learning method he is able to use. So like computer operating systems, what do you think should be the learning method? Okay. Therefore, most probably you will write an independent study because in the CBLM, most of you already have the competency-based learning materials and therefore you already have the information sheet to this which you can upload into your learning management system and use it as your resource, right? So if you already have a complete competency-based learning materials, it means you're going to take the independent study all throughout, okay? And then there's, if you want to have a video, if you want to have a forum and webinar and social media, just click on there. To my designers, I say, if you do not allow 2 weeks to pass or 1 week, depending on the length of the course, without a face-to-face session with you when there is need, or if it is not face-to-face, it's like what we are doing right now, a Zoom webinar or a Google Meet or a Facebook page, as long as you are able to see your student. The problem here is that we cannot do totally independent study because we want our students to complete the course. You know that for online learning, most of the studies say that the learners do not complete the course, especially if you just leave them on their own. So there should always be a teacher facilitated session. Okay. So this is how your curriculum would look like. You just have to tick everything. If you finish the whole thing, that is already your curriculum. Now, after you're finished, this learning method here, you have to transfer it to our methodology here, course delivery. Okay. This one and this one should be almost the same. And of course, you can decide on your assessment method because you have a face-to-face, so there is the practical task if you want to do case study, portfolio, but this should be in here. Okay. Now, we do not anymore place the assessment because online, we know that every session or every block, we always put an assessment. Now, this is very important here, the time here and the time there. Because right now, we are, for TESDA, we are asked to fill up another sub form. And they say if your course, like, I don't know how long is CSS, but if I only have one room, and the total time for face-to-face is 20, and the only number of students that I can take in every day is 10, that means the number of hours, my 20 face-to-face will be multiplied by 2 because I will be dividing my students into 2. And of course, the online, they take it all together. So you are increasing the period of training by another 20 hours or 30 hours, depending on how you schedule your students. Okay, this is for category number 2 in our learning option. How about if your learning option is category number 1, full online? Full online. If that is full online, if this is full online, that means you don't have you don't have anymore a face-to-face. Everything is online. So all of this will be tick. Do you follow me, everyone? I did not make an example for full online. And then you say, how about if I will choose category number 3, learning option number 3, online and offline. Sorry, face-to-face and offline. Then you have to change this column here and put it offline. And of course, you still have your face-to-face. How about if I have learning option number 4? Number 4. What's learning option number 4? I have offline, I have online, I have face-to-face. Then you have to add 2 more columns here, a column for offline and time. So identify which topics you are offering offline and which topics you are offering online. When do you do that? You know, it's our readiness. We already have our CBLMs. That means we are ready for all the units of competency. But you were able to upload only in your LMS maybe 2 COCs. So these 2 COCs that you had in your LMS can be online. The other 3 COCs, if there are 5 COC, if there are 5 unit of competency, sorry, if there are 5 modules, that means the other 3, you're going to offer it offline using your existing CBLMs. Right. How about if it is the last one? There is really no connectivity of my students. Okay, if there is really no connectivity of your students, your learning method will change. You have to change the method. You still have the independent study. You can still do video. You can still do assignment. But most of the rest, I think you can do webinar if you like this. The bandwidth that is needed is not so much. So you can still do webinar, okay? But then you have to include now correspondence, okay? So face-to-face and correspondence. Instead of online, then you just write there correspondence or other platforms that you can use. That means all the materials will be uploaded into their mobile phones so that they can read their mobile phones. Right? Is there anybody, any question? So if you do this and you show this to TESDA, it's like you are telling TESDA, this is how I'm going to do my blended learning. And then there's another form. I don't know if I have the, check. Here, I would like to share. Is my screen sharing, Diane?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, it's screen. This is the latest TESDA circular that came out just last May 19, 2020. I think you should, all administrators should have a copy of this circular, right? I don't have to read. goes on, definition of terms. Attorney Mick went with this yesterday, so you should already know the definition of terms, online learning, and the whole thing. And the framework, we showed this to you yesterday. And then it says, face-to-face, online, blended, distance. Okay. And then here, the requirements, the online learning may be adopted by the TVI when the following requirements are made available. So you have to show them. Curricular requirements, particularly the competency-based curriculum that reflects online as the modality in delivering the TVET program. So you have there under your mode of training delivery, online, offline, or face-to-face. Digital learning contents or articles on the web, ebooks, ECBLM, interactive learning resources should be there. Okay. And any of the following, LMS, right? Web applications, then blended learning. I think these are the requirements. You should have a copy of this so that you know the requirements for you to go to TESDA and get your permit to offer the blended learning. Okay. And then distance learning. At the end here, okay, I think there are now general guidelines. You get there. This is very nice. It just say you,
Can you hear me?
you submit a letter of intent, okay, to either blended, whichever. You can specify online face-to-face, offline face-to-face. And I heard from RD Gayona yesterday that if he can find out that really the connectivity of the students is not possible, so they will allow the correspondence component for the uh, offline distance learning part of the program. A copy of your current CTPR, your updated competency-based curriculum indicating the learning modes to be used. That's the one that I just discussed a while ago. I think you should be able to prepare it in one day. If the teacher is skilled in that qualification, then it's easy to identify which is online and which is face-to-face. List and profile of trainers that will handle the TVET program, must have the competency to deliver TVET program using the preferred flexible delivery, and there must be a training plan. Okay? Now, the training plan is not so difficult because TESDA already, let me show you, TESDA already gives an example. Oh, it's lost. There. Okay? The template is very easy. Here. Sample training plan. Modality. Multimodal is allowed. Full online, blended, or distance. Maybe this distance learning can be our fifth learning option. Okay. So if you are doing blended, offline, online, face-to-face, you just click on blended. And then you put your learning outcome, content. That means you just copy from your current CBLM and then write down your learning resources. You know, this example, this is test the online program. That means I was just thinking that TESDA allows your student to enroll in the TESDA online program so that he learns about welding machine, setting up welding machine. Then you have a video. Then there's an assignment to search on YouTube on keywords of basic welding, right? So here, these are your learning resources. Any expert in the field should be able to complete this training plan, right? So there, LMS. All right. I think that's it. That's how you should be able to submit your curriculum. If you want to start in June or July, then do it. All right. Just to for those who are thinking of preparing their own learning materials, right? If you are thinking of preparing your own materials, that's when the job is a little bit complex. No? If let's say you say, okay, I agree, I'm going to use a Moodle. I'm going to use a Moodle. So I think you need to hire a little expert on the Moodle, because the Moodle can be, how do they call it, recalibrated to get into your, to for you to be able to use it. So from the curriculum, then you have to do a little bit of study how you're going to put into your learning material. Every system, every like, last in the last webinar of TVSA, we invited the Google Classroom, an example for Moodle, and then another example of a learning management system. I do have a learning management system, and I was telling Attorney Meek, if you like, we can provide training to the real developers, but for them to do that, they have to be enrolled in my learning management system as a developer or as a designer. But the job is a little bit cumbersome, and you really have to focus in preparing the learning materials. Now, just to show, I think we still have a little bit more time. How here, the next step from a CBC, from a competency-based curriculum, and you really want to produce your learning material, you have to prepare. You know that there are some TESDA personnel who went to Singapore for a training in the development of learning materials. And they say the next to the CBC to develop a learning material is called learner engagement plan. So here, you just copy from the CBC, but we make a little bit more complicated uh, form, and we say for every technical knowledge, that's our content, you identify really. A while ago we just tick, we say, oh, ito individual learning, ito ganyan. Ito po mas detailed na. Pagdating dito, magbibigay ako, sasabihin na ni teacher, magdidikay ako ng introduction to the topic, training needs analysis. Okay? Yon. Tapos sa susunod, para siyang gumagawa ng plano. Okay? Ito na yung learning activities. I don't know if you see it. So sabi niya, ang susunod kong gagawin ay reading assignment. Either manonood sila ng video at magbabasa may assignment. Okay. Pagkatapos nilang magawa yan, siyempre may kadugtong itong test, no? Assignment is graded. And then yung next activity ay, ayun, student would vote for what they think is a good source of information on trends, issues affecting the qualification of a profession. So yung activity ng estudyante, aside from reading assignment, is to choose. You see, medyo ano to, kasi ano to po TM2. Dahil ito ay TM2, medyo mataas ng kaunti yung critical thinking skills. That's why the activities are this. But if this is NC2, maybe it can just be review of materials. Yeah. And then the next part that the teacher will be doing is a discussion forum. Okay. So among the students, they will discuss among themselves as group. Either, you know, you can use, what can you use as a discussion app? You can use Viber, you can use Telegram, you can use Messenger, and they can form a group and they can do a forum. Then the next one is a video presentation. But what I am saying is that all the topics that you already identified in your curriculum should be divided into small chunks of knowledge where you will define what are the activities of the students. So it's only after you do this that you can start preparing your learning material and put it into the learning management system. Of course, you don't go to your learning management system immediately. Ang kadugtong po nito, meron siyang script, storyboard. Yung unang frame, ito lalabas. Pangalawang frame, ito lalabas. Pangatlong frame, ito lalabas. Pang-apat na frame, ito yung gagawin ng estudyante ko. Now, when that is done, then you got to do a lot of research. Ano na ang available sa internet? You don't copy the material in the internet. You copy the web page. Say whatever, say HTTPS. You copy the web page. So, wala po ditong plagiarism. Sasabihin mo lang sa estudyante mo, click this page, you go to, so it should bring the student to the page where the material is. And therefore, you are not plagiarizing the material, you're just telling the student, you go to this page and you read this page. Now, since TESDA is allowing us to enroll our students, so maybe you can include here also link to TESDA online program, okay, for a topic which the TESDA online program already have. Okay, it's a little bit more cumbersome to do, but this is how a learning material developer should should do, such that you can upload your material into the learning management system. Okay po, later on we'll do question and answer. But before that, medyo 5:15 na. You know, I just attended how many of you? I don't know if Mr. Luxon is here, but I saw him there and here. Where's
Yes,
my...
po, ma'am, nandito po.
Nawawala yung aking stop share. Okay.
Present po, ma'am, present. Mr. Locson.
Present. Prior, Mr. Chor, you're present. So, napanood mo ito. Para po tumawa tayo, gusto ko pong ipakita ito sa inyo eh. Yan. Share. Is it shared?
Not yet, ma'am.
Not
Wala
yet.
pa.
Ano pindot yung share? Okay. Let me just remove all of this. Yan. Nawala na ako sa yun. Stop share. Share screen. Ito, gusto ko to para tumawa kayo. I hope you laugh. Napapanood nyo ba?
H Y
Okay, ma'am.
I O L O G Y प्याजुलुगे P
DANGER OUS Dangers NSTURE Nature FUTURE Nature Futu
I hope you laughed.
Gulu-gulu.
Okay, and just to end my presentation before the Wala, nasaan ka na? Oh, sorry. Dayan, nawala na yung presentation ko. Nasa iyo, di ba? Can you just flash the last 2 slides?
Yes, ma'am. Wait.
And to end my presentation, I have stopped sharing. Okay. Yung last 2. Here, the first slide you have there, the aim of the 2 mule is to eat the grass in front of them, you know. And so at the beginning, they really want to eat it and they pull each other and they really pull very hard, but still they are not able to eat. I think they got tired and so they sit down. Get to the next slide, ayan. Okay, they sit down and ask and talk. Why don't we cooperate and go together and eat our own grass together and then go to the next one together, and they are able to attain their objective. I think most associations where we all belong, this one says if you just cooperate, if we just cooperate with one another and help one another, have the same goal, as we are all training institutions and we are all helping one another, we should be able to go and win against COVID-19. And so I congratulate MinTVET and thank you everybody for listening.
Maraming salamat po, Engineer Mendanilla, for sharing with us on how to design blended training curriculum for the new normal. And now let us proceed to the open forum. We actually have around 4 questions na pumasok. Just to remind everyone, if you wish to ask a question to Engineer Mendanilla, please use or click the raise hand button or send your question in the chat box. So we are just waiting for the moderators to flash the questions on screen. Our first question is from Mr. Giovanni Mamogay of ACLC College, Butuan. Sir, you may unmute yourself, but the question is, do we need to redesign everything inside the CBC, or can we redesign only our course design or session plan to show TESDA that we are into flexible learning like blended learning delivery? Engineer?
Yes, Giovanni, the session plan is outside your CBC. So the session plan really had to be changed. But TESDA is not asking us to show them the session plan. Maybe they will require that later when they will observe you or they will check in your institution. What you need is the CBC. As I have shown a while ago, there is no need to redesign anything in the CBC. What is changing is not the what. What is changing is the how. Remember that we are following the training regulation. So that the content in the training regulation will remain the same until the training regulation is, how they call that? They could change, no? What I forgot the term that TESDA used. But until the training regulation is changed, then the content will still be the same. Therefore, it's the presentation that you have to show. As I have shown a while ago, in the column of methodologies in your module of instruction, all you need to do is identify particularly the method that you're going to use for every topic. Before we just summarize the methodology, right? You just enumerated. Right now, but now you have to detail it. Which of these will be individual learning? Which of these will be demonstration? And then you have to identify which is offline, which is face-to-face, and which is online. That's the way you will show it to TESDA that you are doing a blended curriculum. That's the only change that you have to do.
Thank you, Engineer Mendanilla. I believe Dr. Gayona would like to add an input. Sir? Doc Dayon, ha? Yes po.
Sabi ko, mamaya na pagkatapos ng question.
Sige po. Actually, meron din pa kasing follow-up question si Sir Giovanni na ipa-flash namin ulit sa screen before.
Baka nga mas
Sige,
maganda kung
after-
si Sir Gas ang sumagot.
Opo. Hello, sir. Good afternoon. Meron pa po siyang follow-up about the training
after
plan. Sige po. About the training plan, do we really need to follow that format? If we can come up with a curriculum design or session plan for blended program, it shows it there na kasi, ma'am. I ask this because we are not doing single qualification. I'm talking about diploma program. All that information can be found inside the session plan or course design or structure. Example, there can be found this component, content, method, presentation, practices, feedback, training modality like online or offline face-to-face. Ma'am, sir?
Sir Gas, would you like to respond?
Well,
Yes.
I do not know how you formatted your diploma. No? I hope it was still the same thing that we have discussed before. But practically, for the purpose, this is a sample training plan. When it says sample, it's not the standard, di ba? Kasi kung ito na siya, hindi niya gagawing sample.
Opo.
Ito na siya, required, di ba? It could have been required ang title kung yun na yun. Ang importante na kasi doon, Engineer Marge, kasi I'll be using the original second second webinar natin.
Opo.
Iyon yung aking pinagamit eh. Practically,
Okay.
that's the one that I will train my TVIs tomorrow. But I will integrate.
Okay po.
Sana ma-email nyo agad yan sa akin ngayon dahil pagpupuyatan ko
sige po.
ma-integrate doon.
Sige po.
Yeah. Because kung titingnan niyo, kasi wala na siya masyadong itinker eh. To make it easier for the TVIs to follow. Doon lang talaga yon sa methodology mo sa design.
Opo.
Kasi hindi naman namin kukunin yung basta naka-indicate lang doon LMS. Remember, wala siyang on-site validation ngayon, inspection, di ba? Wala siya eh. So, yun lang ang hihingi namin. At least, nalagay na ni Engineer Marge kung ano yung mga learning management systems doon. Now, you know what? The most critical kasi is the offline. The offline, yung distance learning. Sa LMS kasi, may naka-embed na siyang window ng assessment. Diba? So, kung gagamitin mo yung Google Classroom, you can either invite your learners or bibigyan mo ng code. So, assured ka ng attendance, di ba? And then doon, pagkatapos noon, meron siyang assessment. So, it's easy for us to monitor. Ang pinaka-difficult is the correspondence type or the distance learning, the offline. Kasi, what will be the evidence to be shown that the learner was able to develop or to acquire the knowledge and be able to apply it, di ba? Malahabang discussion yan yesterday morning bago ako nag-join sa webinar MinTVET sa hapon. Morning nung nag-meeting yung mga scholarships. Kasi may allowance, di ba? May allowance kasi kaya sabi nila, may COA kaming hinaharap eh. Ano bang ipapakita natin sa COA? Sabi ko, I've been a teacher for 25 years of my life. If I give a learning material, I would just say that, di ba, kasi hindi nila sinunod yung aking suggestion na hindi nominal period. Nominal duration pa rin na nakalagay kasi dito. Yung recommendation ko kasi is demonstrated competence either through institutional assessment, be it summative or formative assessment. Hindi nila kineri nominal duration. Tapos, diba, doon sa previous guidelines, may 80% tayo. 80% is equivalent to 100%. Diba? Ang sabi lang namin, ipaliwanag sa NISP people yan. Dahil baka mamaya, dahil the learner can just decide after 80% on his own, dahil competency-based ka, sabi niya, ready na ako. Diba? But then, of course, the institution can still supply the remaining 20% with the correspondence type or with the distance learning. Ang critical sa offline is what will be the evidence. So kung ako yan, lalagay ko doon na after I've given the material, be it video, be it fora yan, o reading materials yan, I would say at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, you have to submit your output, di ba? Ganun ko lang. So pag sinabi kong 3 hours yan, at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, the whole span of time before the 3 o'clock, kanya na yun. Magsa-self-learning siya, but at 3 o'clock they have to submit. Para may evidence na na-acquire niya yung knowledge at nabasa niya yung reading materials kasi nga sabi nga ninyo, di ba? Sa ngayon, ang dami niyang disturbance eh. Kung kahit pa nga yung LMS yan eh, unahin niya muna yung magbukas ng Facebook niya at kung ano-anong babasahin niya doon. Kaysa kaysa yung online niya ng iba. So, ang daming disturbance ng ating learners ngayon. Okay? So, for the diploma, practically, dito may application na yung UNOR dito, diploma online. Online. Kasi itong sample training plan, napakasimple lang eh. Napakasimple lang. Ako nga, yung gagamitin ko nga yung original na doon sa second webinar natin sa TEBSAA. Para ma-determine. Kasi doon lang ititik lang nila eh. Yung 5 choices na yun, doon lang ititik nila. Tapos lalagyan ko lang na nota bene sa baba na this is how we will monitor the output of the students. So kung hihingi ng provincial office, you have to understand na yung mag-i-evaluate ng inyong mga curriculum sa blended, majority of them doesn't even know what blended learning is. Okay? And I have to be honest to accept that. Provincial directors, di ba? Marami nga rin sa mga TVI learning facilitators siya hindi pa siya familiar. Kaya kahapon sabi ko, di ba, after matapos itong first batch ng mga learning facilitators ng TESDA na tinitrain ngayon, magkakaroon siya ng multiplier sessions. So, that's 50. That's for the TVI. So, agapan nyo yan and remind your regional directors, katatanggapin lang nila nitong copy ng guidelines. So, I do not even know how deep is the understanding of the new RDs on this. Kasi 3 na lang kami hong naiwang matatanda sa TESDA. Okay? Si RD Jing nandyan isa at saka si RD Talavera. Yung mga bago, mga hagila pa yon. So doon sa diploma, pwede mo naman gawin ng ganito eh. Per module, di ba?
Opo.
Yan nga, yung information ko rin. Like for example, diploma mo naka-online. Like example ko lang yung sa UNOR, may BS Agriculture siya. Then may diploma siyang agriculture, naka-credit doon sa BS. And they would like to offer also the modular component of the diploma. Tanong is, do I have to register that? No, because the diploma program has already been recognized. You recognize the package, therefore you recognize every part of it. So hindi na niya i-register. Kaya kailangan mo pa rin itong training plan para lang ma-show. For the purpose of member, hindi lang kayo ang audience dyan. Yung magbabasa, yung PDs. Much more because dadaan pa yan sa kanyang utpras vocals bago pa dumating sa PD. Kung sa utpras vocals pa lang, hindi na nakaintindihan, hindi na makarating sa PD yun, babalik at babalik sa inyo yan. Siyang daming hahanapin. Kaya bukas ako, i-webinar ko pati utpras vocals, PDs together with the TVIs using yung second webinar natin, Engineer Marge. Plus, i-integrate ko na lang yung kasi in-announce ko na rin yan doon nung yesterday sa morning. Sabi ko kay, di ba nag-meeting yung TEBSAA with Director Dave. Sabi, kasi ako yung tinext niya nakiuso ako doon. Sabi niya, sir, susugan mo na ito kasi simple. O di, yun ang in-announce ko na we will follow. Sinabihan ko talaga sila central office, do not develop your own. Just follow what the TEBSAA has prepared because it will be easy for the TVIs to follow that. So itong training plan, original naman to eh. Diba? Nagawa nyo na to eh. Practically yung sa diploma eh, may nyo lang yung mga components doon. Modular naman yun eh. So wala siyang practically hassle Pag sinabi mo doon, online, di gawan mo siya ng training plan. Ganito, gawan mo siya ng training plan. Hassle nga lang, dami niyong gagawin. Pero ganun talaga ang buhay. Di ba? Ganun talaga ang buhay. Kung ako ibibigyan, kahit hindi mo ako bibigyan ng training plan, basta bigyan mo lang akong matrix, anong online mo, offline mo yan. Kung sabihin mo sa akin, sir, ganito yung monitoring namin. Ito yung output niya dito. Pag sinabing, ito sir, reading material. Itong output expected. Yung output na yun, hihingin ko afterwards para i-present ko sa COA para mabayaran ng allowance sa mga bata. Diba? Ano yun? Yun ang hanapin nila kasi yun ang pinaka-critical question yesterday ng mga vocals. Paano kami, anong ebidensya ang i-present namin sa COA para bayaran ang allowances ng mga bata? Ako teacher, ako kaya alam ko kung anong evidences. Sila ho hindi eh. So yun, so for the diploma, walang problema kasi either you offer a single qualification or you offer the diploma, every qualification there naman pwede mong gawa ng training plan eh. For the meantime pa lang yan. Kasi later on, yung sinasabi ni RD Jing kahapon, although mahirap-hirap din yun, meantime, start-up lang to. At the end of the day, pag na-institutionalize na ito, yun na yung hahanapin namin. Yung quality ng content na iyon. Alam niyo critical dito sa blended learning. Sigurado ba tayong mag-equate ito sa result ng face-to-face? Yun pa yung malaking question doon eh. Pero hindi ko na i-erase yan kasi pahirapan niyo yung buhay niyo yan eh. So yun lang, no? There's nothing new naman. It's a simple thing. Yung diploma naman is practically integrating all of this na knowledge, values, and the core competencies. So pag sinabi mong online, gawan mo na lang ng ganito. Ita-translate mo lang naman everything that you say, yung modality mo, ita-translate mo lang sa training plan eh. Mayroon pang learner guide, di ba? Yung Engineer Marge, di ba? Yung original natin. Yun ang aking hihingin sa aking mga TVIs, yung learner guide. Oo.
Ito po. I-share ko, sir. Ito po yung learner guide natin dati. Difference lang po nung pinakita ko. Kasi kaya namin iniba dahil current na yung curriculum existing na. So ito naman, ni-revise. Itong column na to, core competency, learning outcome, tapos yung content, tapos ito na rin yon, activities and modality.
Yes.
The same din po. Kaya ang suggestion lang po ng iba, bakit ko pa babaguhin yung dati kong CBC, yung first 3 columns kasi yun din yun eh. Yun nasa dating CBC. Opo. Although this one po is simpler. Kasi for competency lang to, tapos yan. Kaya lang kung marami kayong competencies, hindi mo alam paano mo dinidivide. So, meron pong nag-isip na, ba't hindi na lang yung dati? This is assessment criteria. Ito pong column na to, assessment criteria. Ito po yung content. Tapos, kaya lang nilagay natin yung condition. Tapos, ito na po yun. And the same, modality and the activities.
Yeah. So, yan yung aking suggestion dyan. Now, yun susundin ko na lang yun sa iyo, hindi na ito.
Opo.
Yung ito ba, like for example, online siya.
Opo.
Then, total number of hours, di ba?
Opo.
Yung critical ho dito, yung yung online, walang problema kasi may naka-embed sa LMS na assessment eh. So, yun na lang ang evidence niya. Yung
sa face-to-face na lang po.
Yung offline ang wala eh. Face-to-face, may ano naman yan eh, may progress chart naman eh.
Opo.
Yung offline ang medyo mahirap. Kaya yun, ihingin ko yun sa aking mga TVIs. Ilagay lang nota bene sa baba. Just to alert the evaluators sa baba. Kasi 'di ba, may audit pa rin yan later on eh. So just to make sure na safe yung mga TVIs, papalalagyan ko lang nota bene sa baba. This is for the offline, like session number 1, offline. These are the evidences. So these are the outputs expected. So yun yung hihingin ko, yung output na yun. Para for the purpose of releasing allowances. At saka, safe din sa inyo kasi nominal period pa rin eh. Hindi yung kwan kasi ang ini-insist ko sana is dahil competency based yan, is yung kwan, demonstrated competence through the institutional assessment, either summative or formative. Kasi sabi ko, yung summative assessment ng face-to-face, sabi ko, hindi nyo ba tinitingnan equivalent na rin yun sa competency assessment? Ayaw pa nila pakinggan Pero sige lang. Papasok din yan kasi papasok ang virtual assessment Lalabas din yung guidelines na iyon. So titingnan natin yun. So yun lang practically yung sa akin yun lang. So itong matrix na to, papalitan ko ng matrix mo.
Opo.
So pahingi na.
Yes,
Sana
sir.
ma-email nyo sa akin
Yung dating
ngayong
CBC
gabi.
na yun So wala na ako kayo
Yes.
papalitan.
Oo. So wala ka talaga ititingkara to make it easier. Ang pinaka-critical, yung sinasabi ni Engineer Marge, pag naglagay na kanyo niyan sa inyong LMS, yon yung critical. Pero hindi pa namin hahanapin yon. Kasi hindi naman kami makapunta ng school Kasi ako, kung makalusot la ako, pupunta ako school, obserbahan ko yung inyong LMS. Di ba? Makikita ko yon. Pero ako yun. Paano yung oppress
Dr.
focus
Gas,
ko? Yes.
mag-enroll ka na lang po. You ask for a code and you become a student. Di makita mo kung ano.
Ay, oo nga pala.
You have to go to my school po. Mag-enroll ka na lang po para makikita mo yung system.
Email mo sa akin.
Sige po.
Kasi ang inaatupag ko ngayon yung tutorial from beginner to expert sa PowerPoint. Kasi siyempre, hindi naman ako magtuturo Ako nagpe-present sa Royal Institution. So, para medyo naman bago. But anyway, no? So, yun na lang. Papalitan ko yun noong present mo ngayon. And because i-webinar ko yung TVIs ko bukas. I'm sorry pasensya na yung ibang regions kasi masipag-sipag kami ni RD Jing at nakakaintindi. But anyway, kakalat kasi ito sa other regions. Once we have finished this, certainly maghihingi yan sa pahinging model for the other regional directors to understand. So we grab the opportunity that we are with you so that whatever you develop, dahil nag-dialogue na kayo sa taas, ay yun yung ma-adapt para hindi na mahirapan yung ibang TVIs. So yung nagtanong doon sa diploma, madali lang naman ito. Just translate everything in your modules sa training plan. Wala namang hassle yan Madali lang yan Practically, pag alam mo na kung modality mo, madali naman. Wala ka pang 5 minuto, matapos mo na yung training plan na yan. Ang importante yung learner guide. Yung sinasabi doon kanina. Kasi yun ang mag-guide sa learner. Yun. Yun medyo mabigat-bigat. Pero anyway, so yun. So, pahingi lang kaagad ng copy, Engineer Marge.
Ngayon po,
Diyan naman,
email ko na po.
Diyan naman si attorney
Opo.
In-email na niya para mapalitan ko yung i-webinar ko yung TVIs ko bukas.
Sige
Then
po.
I would also borrow yung sa NTR because they're asking for it. Wala na akong time to develop. Hiramin ko na lang yung presentation kahapon.
Opo.
Because I'll be also training them on how to prepare project proposals. Now, ito yung isa. I hope I can share this with the other RDs. I think RD Jing is also doing this. We are now doing the industry consultations on how many are displaced and how many they will retain and what qualifications or competencies do they need from TESDA for the ones that they will retain. Now, in our discussions here with the PD sa Region 6, once they have submitted that by Saturday, yun yung ibibigay ko sa TVIs. Hindi ko ibibigay sa TVIs yun. Like for example, I'll just give you an example para matapos. Ito, Construct Aggregate. Ang kanyang identified skills requirements is welding, machining, machinery, automotive. So if there is an additional skills requirement, computer literacy, reading, understanding, instruction, of course, mga basic na to, basic numerical skills. Ito practically, you can develop this as an NTR, di ba? As shared yesterday. Pero itong mga ito are small components of several qualifications. So, yan, Mr. Pamplona. Ito pwede na, sino nga nagtanong kahapon na gumawa na siya pero hindi tinatanggap ng TESDA. Ito, madali ito because ang industry mismo ito nagsabi na itong pangailangan niya additional to their existing workers. Ang wala pang feedback ngayon is how many are displaced workers and what competencies do they need. So, pag nag-gather ko to by Saturday, ito ibibigay ko sa aking TVIs kasi nga, di ba, mag-ARSAP by today. Today ang deadline sa ARSAP eh. So, yung mga kaperahang na ibigay sa TTIs namin, which was February ginawa and was supposed to start by March, April, May, walang klase hanggang June, 4 na buwan yan, yun yung budget na mababawas sa binigay sa TTIs. I hope your RDs understand that, na ito yung pwede mong ibigay sa TVIs. Kasi hindi nakakayanin ng TTIs. We do not really know when the start of classes will be. Tomorrow will be the IATF meeting and the secretary has a proposal to start by June. But again, even if payagan ng IATF yan, kung ang governor at mayor ay ayaw pumayag, hindi ka makastart. And then, nagde-develop pa tayo ng competencies ng mga learning facilitators natin, including yours. Kasi mag-multiplier, activities hanggang end of June. So yan, para I do not know how many are mine here. No? Pero sana kung I have 5 now, pag-graduate niya is 1:25. Kasi online naman bakit ililimit sa 10, di ba? Kung kaya naman. O 2 of the 5 will cater to 25. I will have 75 kaagad. Of the TVIs,
Gawin mong 50, Dr. Gas.
Oo, 50 nga nakalagay eh.
Opo.
Oo, pwede. Kasi online naman di ba? Ay, patrain ko nga yung PDs ko, pati yung mga corporate, yung mga staff. On blended, hindi kasi sila ang magbabasa eh. Sinabi ko na yan sa central office, you train the trainers, you train the learning facilitators, you are training the one who will recommend. Di ba? Ngayon, kung diretso sa RD yun, kung sa akin case lang, kung sa amin na RDG, pag diretso na sa amin, walang problema. Dadaan sa PD, so, yung PDs nyo, baka hindi marunong magbasa nun. Kaya sabi ko, mag-open kayo ng lesson on blended learning for the provincial directors and the new RDs. Mag-enroll din ako. Ini-joke nila sa ikaw, superintendent, ano kayo hilo? Superintendent, nag-aaral nga ako. So yun yung situation. But I hope that maintindihan din yan ng mga RDs na there will be reduction in the funds that were given to the TTIs because 4 months hindi naka-implement. Hindi mo ibabalik sa TTIs yan. Kasi hindi na nila kakayanin yan. Sa ARSAP, today is the deadline of the submission of the ARSAP. Then by June, will be the revision of the qualifications map because mag-recosting tayo, di ba? May 160 allowance ng TWSP, lahat na. Plus 500 access to internet, plus 500 sa health, PPEs, and others. So, yun ang idadagdag doon sa cost. Medyo magsasakripisyo lang yung mga may hilot, massage, parang manicure, pedicure, hindi na yun mapaprioritize. Kasi social distancing na tayo. Hindi na pwede yung hilot. Although sa likod naman maghihilot, pero bawal pa rin. So medyo magsasakripisyo lang yung sa tourism. So malinaw naman, napakasimple naman itong guidelines eh. Nahanap ko nga mayroon pa akong recommendation na hinahanap na hindi na-carry. Pero sige lang. Napaka-friendly siya because of your dialogue with them, central. Diba?
Thank you po.
And then of course, after that kasi twice they nag-meeting RDs together with the DDGs. I really advise them, do not create another one that will make a burden to the TVIs. Anyway, meron naman na silang develop na kaya namang gawin all through the region, ay yun na lang sundin. May modification lang doon sa pinresent ni Engineer Marge ngayon hapon. So yun po. Thank you.
Okay, sir. Thank you very much po.
Thank you, Dr. Gas and Engineer Mendelia. Thank you also to Mr. Giovanni Mamogay for your questions.
Dayan. Just say doon sa nag-question kanina si Mr.
Giovanni Mamogay.
Mr. Giovanni, just make sure you verify your terminologies Kasi po nagkakagulo tayo sa salitang course design, instructional design. Mag-basis lang po tayo, kunwari sa TESDA, pag sinabi niyang course design, ang laman lang nun ay yung course design. Yung curriculum kasi is of two parts, course design and the module of instruction. Yung pag sinabi niyang course design, meron kung ano yung mga component na nilagay niyo ni TESDA, yun na lang din ang isipin nyo. Wag na yung ibang definition pa kasi yun na po yung definition natin noon pa. So, ang curriculum is composed of course design and module of instruction. Yung course design niya, yung title, yung description, learning outcomes, the students, the course structure, facilities, facilitate teachers, yun po yung course design niya. Okay. Pag nilagay mo lahat yun, ang tawag mo doon ay course design. Ngayon, pag sinama mo si module of instruction, ang tawag mo doon ay curriculum. Okay po. So, there might be other definitions in others. No? Hindi ko sinasabing yun lang ang definition. Pero kasi matagal na natin ginagamit at yun na yung nagamit natin noon pa. So, huwag na tayong gumamit pa ng ibang meaning sa salitang course design, lalo na instructional design, course delivery, iba-iba lahat yun. Okay po?
Okay, thank you very much, Engineer Mendelia. Actually, meron pa po tayong dalawang questions pa po para sa inyo. Thank you again, Sir Mamogay. I hope we were able to address your question. While waiting for the moderator to flash the next question po, we would like to request everyone to turn on your video so we can take photos for documentation purposes. Just turn on your video but keep yourselves mute unless recognized. So, Engineer, our question is from PAITA Incorporated. And the question goes, as much as we want to open the training center for DOMWork NC2, we are planning for the blended program, offline and face-to-face. How about national assessment? Is it also blended? Is TESDA giving permit to operate or open? Ma'am?
I think I am not in a position, ma'am, to answer your question because this is more TESDA operation and I am not from TESDA. Maybe we can ask our RDs to answer that.
Hindi pa allowed yun online. They are now developing guidelines for virtual. I do not know how they will present it, but they call it virtual assessment. So, piniprepare pa ang guidelines, but hindi pa ho ina-allow yung online. Yung online kasi I do not know the reason why, but hindi pa ho allowed. Virtual assessment yung term nila. So, I am not familiar with it because wala pang dumadating draft for our comments.
Okay po, thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, Dr. Gas. Engineer, you want to add something po? None?
No.
None. Okay, so we have actually one question pa from Miss Marjorie Tagaro. You raised your hand po. Ma'am, you're recognized. You may unmute yourself and ask your question personally. Miss Marjorie Tagaro, ma'am, you raised your hand po.
Siguro, clarified na siya.
Okay, so again po, before we...
Miss Jen, can I ask question?
Sige po, Sir Ray, you recognize.
Oh yeah, Ray Albano from Holy Trinity College, General Santos City. Thank you, Ma'am Marjorie, Engineer Marjorie, for the presentation of the different learning option today. Parang ang tendency ho kasi natin, we have other options, especially if we will offer training programs this season, no? But then, nandiyan si Director Gas, it could enlighten us. Kasi there's a announcement already that we can TESDA could already operate by June, unlike in higher education, tsaka basic education, August or September. But then, are we made to understand na if in case we will have a blended, nakasamahan natin na face-to-face, are we made to understand na we will just accept trainees that are above 19 years old? Because in the IATF, the students are only allowed to go out if they are 19 years old and above. So the question is, if are we allowed, or if just in case we will offer training programs, we will just concentrate on trainees that are above 19 years old?
No. Tomorrow will be the meeting of the IATF, as I've mentioned. Kasi doon sa previous nilang resolution, said lang at DepEd nakalagay doon di ba? The reason,
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
the reason of the explanation of Director Dave Bugalion is that kasi wala tayong academic calendar So yun, kaya hindi tayo na-mention. Although ako naman, worst yung aking interpretation. Kasi hindi tayo pumosisyon na nasa edukasyon din tayo. Training lang ang tingin nila sa atin. Ayun yung aking worst interpretation. But anyway, the secretary, the central office has already prepared a letter to the IATF who will be meeting tomorrow to allow us to open already by June. Of course, depende pa rin sa LGU to allow us to open by June. So, pag inalaw ng IATF po yun, wala na yung carried na hindi na limited doon sa age yun. Yung babalik sa normal entry age natin yung papasok, no? But if the IATF would follow the line of statement of the President na wala talagang face-to-face, mag-pure online talaga kayo. Pag nag-pure online, except for PESPA, I think, ano bang ang PESPA kasi, di ba, high school graduate. Of course, kung
Yes.
diploma ang inyong offer, high school, grade 12 graduate din yun kasi wala pa tayong PQF 432, tinatapos pa namin ni RD Jing yung packaging rules. So, ganun pagka intay natin yung result ng meeting ng IATF bukas, yun ang magbibigay linaw sa atin kung talagang papayagan tayong June. Kasi yun talagang hinihingi ng Secretary sa IATF na dahil TVET tayo, wala naman tayong academic calendar except sa diploma na naka-credit sa inyong BS, di ba? Yun lang ang nagfa-follow sa academic calendar. Pero all others naman, tayo open entry, open exit Kaya hindi ko nga nakita dito yung diniscuss kahapon na open entry, open exit dito sa guidelines But anyway, lilinawin din yan balang araw. So, hintayin natin Ray, yung result ng meeting ng IATF bukas. Certainly, we will have the information siguro late afternoon pagkatapos kaagad ng meeting. So that the Secretary can already make the announcement kung TVET will start. Dito kasi, I started agriculture. Kasi agriculture, the social distancing kaya So, because umuo yung governor at mayor. So, I will not wait for the central office to say that because even if the central office would say go, if the mayor or the governor will say no, wala tayong magawa. And the ones that will prevail will still be the local government unit. So, we'll wait for the result of the meeting tomorrow ng IATF. Dahil magbabago
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Okay. Okay, Ray. Sige.
Okay, thank you so much, Doc Gayona, and thank you, Sir Ray. Meron pa po tayong follow-up question, Engineer Marge, which will be flashed on the screen in a while. While waiting...
Frances?
Yes, ma'am.
May I be recognized? And then lang Ma'am Marge,
Yes, Attorney Mick? Yes, po.
may I address this to Engineer Marge?
Yes.
We have a lot of participants asking us for a copy of the course design and module instruction that you flashed a while ago.
Yes.
Unfortunately, the staff don't have a copy of that yet because what you sent us was the present. Did you send this to us?
Okay. That's a Word file kasi, so I was not able.
So narinig ng lahat yung mga humihingi kasi sabi namin we will still first ask from Ma'am Marge if she's willing to share that. Thank you, Ma'am Marge.
Okay.
Francis, go.
Thank you, Attorney Mick. So, while waiting po for the question, it's still from PAITA Incorporated. Virtual assessment, do we have timetable for it, ma'am?
Teka, that's from test. Again, I think the question is more
It's for
TESDA. Well, I attended the technical group working on the virtual assessment, but that is only for TM1 and TM2. It did not discuss other qualifications. So I cannot really say any timetable. And plus, which qualification will go virtual assessment. But what I can say is the discussion was only for the assessment of TM1 and TM2. Remember that there is a requirement of some of the COCs in TM2. That's why TESDA is also working on the virtual assessment for TM2.
Thank you, ma'am. Actually, RD Jean Makapili would like to say something. Sir, you're recognized.
Good afternoon to everybody. Gusto ko lang ipaalam na sa TESDA Circular, page 12 of 15, TESDA Circular 62, regarding guidelines in implementing flexible learning TVET. Number 7, applying the competency-based training principle of multiple exit, learners are enrolled singly or at the same schedule, and those learners who satisfactorily completed all the learning outcomes of the qualification-based program, including institutional assessment and other institutional requirements, may exit the program earlier than the nominal duration.
Wow.
So, user-friendly ang guidelines sa TESDA.
Yes, yes, thank you.
Masyado.
Thank you,
Okay.
RD Jing.
So, yung kanina sa diploma, user-friendly man ang guidelines namin. Yung kanina sa diploma, lahat naman tayo educators. Ang diploma, ang goal naman is to produce technologies. So, hindi yung rote learning, hindi yung surface learning, but deep learning. Diba? Knowledge-based workers, kailangan naintindihan ang technology, hindi yung surface learning. So, ang principle doon is yung there must be cognitive presence sa content ng curriculum, the cognitive aspect. Okay, so kahapon na-mention ni Attorney Ingracia yung community of inquiry, di ba? So, iba ang diploma. Yung ginawa ni Dr. Gayona noon at saka na-develop natin lahat, dapat yun ang i-follow talaga. It's not a mere of transferring from one format to another, but it's the content, not the ROTE learning, surface learning, but deep learning. Okay? Yun ang diploma. Ito naman ang suggestion ko, user-friendly lang naman ang guidelines namin. Dapat, on the part of the training team, designer, developer, facilitator, dapat sa team pa lang may decision rule to determine how the performance of the learner will be evaluated using the different learning modes. Para pagdating sa amin, hingi ng COA, ready na galing sa inyo. Di ba? May ebidensya talaga. Or I will say it this way. How will the learners evaluate their own learning experiences? So there must be, na-mention ni Director Gayona, summative, formative. So from the end, sa isip ng training team, dapat makapredict na tayo ng learner satisfaction. There must be tools to be developed by the training team to assess the learner satisfaction using the different learning modes as their learning experiences on the part of the learners. With the end, of course, sabihin natin, dapat may course evaluation. Summative, formative. Yun lang po ang sa akin. Para at least that will help us also. Once you will submit all those documents kasama sa billing statement, wow, kompleto recados, andon ang ebidensya. So masaya ang lahat, no? Lahat tayong masaya, kompleto recados. Yun lang po sa akin.
Sige po.
Thank you so much, RD Jing. Ma'am, meron pa tayong last question na po talaga. So while waiting po for the question to be flashed, I would like to remind everyone and request everyone to please turn on your video para po sa ating documentation. So the question is from Madge Gomez. If we are to plot our own using the same principle, we can just use our own template? Yes, ma'am?
Yeah. I think Dr. Gayona says they don't really, how do you call this, specify a template. Do you mean the CBC or do you mean the training plan that is required in the guideline? If it is the training plan, a while ago, Dr. Gayona says this is a sample, but if I were you, I'll just follow the sample, how the sample is used. No? Now for the CBC, we just tried to, because I'm just using the same old CBC that we have for a face-to-face, but then just make sure that you show them that there is really an online component for your blended learning. Now, if you can come up with your own, then I think there should be no problem there. But you know, other people who will be checking your CBC may not really know. No, if you make it so difficult, then the people may not be able to check. That's the reason why I said use the old CBC that you have. You don't have to change it. All you need to do is put a component where the TESDA personnel can see where you are putting your online and where you are putting your face-to-face. That's all.
Thank you, Engineer Mendanilla. Meron pa po tayong isa pang question, but we believe the question is addressed for TESDA, which will be flashed on the screen in a little while. Again, reminding everyone po, please turn on your video for our documentation purposes. Thank you. So it is from Mr. Reynaldo Carino. Can we ask po when the competency assessment will resume?
We will wait for the meantime, di ba, temporarily suspended siya. Again, the rule kasi dyan is 10 lang naman yan eh. Kung kaya na, kung pumayag yung LGUs ninyo, kasi hindi naman siya big crowd, you can go for it. Depende sa RDs nyo. Depende sa RDs ninyo. Wala pa tayong, but let's wait for the announcement. We will raise the same question. Pero, yung akin dito, pinayagan ko yung TTIs ko. Sir, 10 lang naman, kasya naman sa classroom. Sabi ko, basta pumayag yung governor mo at saka mayor, go for it. Kasi nga, while we are babalansin mo yung mag-systems thinking tayo. Meron nga tayong gagraduate dyan, may certificate of training, pero may opportunity for work, kanapa ng NC. Kaya sabi ko kanina, di ba, I was trying to negotiate na sa face-to-face, dahil hindi mo naman talaga ma-pure e-learning ang TVET, except for some talaga na like computer, ang pwede. Yung welding, hindi mo naman lahat yan eh. Kaya sabi ko sa hindi lang na-include sa guidelines, kahapon na i-raise that eh. Sabi ko, yung face-to-face ba na laboratory nila ay pwede na bang i-consider at competency assessment yun? Of course, yung kailangan mo doon is the assessor. Ang magsakripisyo doon, assessment center. Di ba? Kasi hindi na sa assessment center yung assessment eh. Doon na mismo sa venue of learning. Pero wala pa hong pronouncement sa Manila. So let's wait. Kasi yan, hindi talaga madesisyonan yan sa babae. Unless na properly guided yan. So let's just wait for the announcement. Hindi naman yun magtatagal. Kasi kung ganitong naghingi na si SEC ng permission sa IATF for for TVET to resume, at alam naman niya, di ba, ang ina-highlight yan ay blended. Ang takot lang natin ay pag talagang nagpumilit yung interpretasyon sa sinabi ni Presidente na wala na talagang klase ng face-to-face, online lahat. Yun yung nakakatakot. Kasi maapektuhan talaga yung competency assessment yan dahil hindi nyo naman ma-online ang assessment eh. So siguro marami pang ano yan, marami pang gagawing pamamaraan para lang magkaroon ng assessment. So yun ho yung recent. Pinag-usapan yung virtual, pero hindi ko alam yan. Sinabi ni Engineer Marge kanina, TM pa lang yun pala. Ay, so wala pa kasing draft na bumababa sa region for comment na regional director. So hindi pa namin alam kung ano yun. Plus yung ano. Hintayin na lang ho natin yung announcement. Certainly, pag naghingi si SEC na mag-proceed ang TVET, susunod na yung assessment yan.
Okay, thank you. Daghang salamat, Dr. Gayona. And maraming salamat din po, Engineer Marjorie Mendanilla. That's it for our open forum. And to officially close our webinar today, may we recognize Mr. John Thomas Franco, the Executive Director of Mindanao TVET. Sir?
Yes. Ayan. Greetings of peace to everyone. Thank you for being with us for the two-part series of MinTVET webinar. The biggest TVET association in this part of the country. We continue to deliver what we have promised to general membership. Today is the time. Thank you for the support of TESDA, especially to the regional directors, RD Gas and RD Jing, our speaker, to all the participants, the MinTVET board and past presidents, BMIC staffs, to all, congratulations. As we commit to our function with the correct email address that you have sent upon your request, we will send copies of the presentation together with your e-certificates. Likewise, the page so that you can get notifications of the upcoming webinars that we are going to have a 5-part, and we have invited experts on the field. Lastly, for the purpose of documentation, please smile in front of the camera. Dayan, picture na. There are 7 slides. Picture, smile. Another slide. Another slide. Kung saan man kayo doon, another slide. Keep on smiling, everyone. Another slide. I think that's it. Again, thank you. Keep safe, everyone. We shall move forward, survive, and most of all, thrive in the new normal. God bless everyone.
Thank you very much. Daghang salamat and maraming salamat po, Mr. Franco, for your closing remarks.
Stay safe.
We are going to flash our MinTVET Facebook group. Again, sa mga hindi pa po naka-join ng group or request to join the closed group, just search MinTVET sa Facebook niyo po and like and follow. Before we really commence or end this, we would like to recognize the people behind the Mindanao TVET Association, our Board of Trustees. Thank you very much for all your efforts and passion in advancing TVET in Mindanao. We also would like to thank the TVSA, or the Techpok Schools Association of the Philippines, and the Private Education Assistance Committee for the trust in Mindanao TVET Association. We also would like to thank BMIC Consultancy for their hard work. Help us improve the quality of our webinar series. Please accomplish our evaluation form through this link. We also sent this link sa inyong chat box po. Baka pwede nyo pong i-click and help us really to improve the quality of our webinar series. Like what Mr. Franco said, this is just the first. Again, maraming salamat po for joining us, and we hope you really had a fruitful learning in this MinTVET webinar on design training curriculum for the new normal in TVET. Maraming salamat po. Again, this is Frances Carion in behalf of MinTVET signing off. Thank you very much po. Have a great evening.
Thank you, everyone.
Vamos, vamos.
Thank you.
Ma'am Lourdes, hello.
Gracias.
Hello, everyone.
Thank you. Thank you, Sir Gus.
Thank you, Lourdes. Chan, salamat. Salamat, Chan.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ma'am Min.
Marks, thank you.
Wala, bye-bye.